There's a forest nestled deep within the forgotten corners of the world, a place where the light is afraid to linger and the trees themselves seem to whisper secrets in a language older than time. They call it the Black Veil, a name that clings like cobwebs to the lips of those foolish enough to speak of it. Within its tangled depths lies a presence, a malevolence, they say, older than the forest itself. The evil in the forest wasn't always an entity shrouded in darkness and dread. No, it began, as most horrors do, with a tale of betrayal, pain, and vengeance. Centuries ago, the Black Veil wasn't the cursed place it is now. It was a thriving woodland, rich with life and laughter, its soil fertile and its rivers sparkling like liquid crystal. The heart of the forest was home to a healer named Nissa. She was no ordinary woman, tall and elegant, with raven black hair that tumbled like silk down her back. Her piercing green eyes seemed to hold the knowledge of the earth itself. She wore flowing robes of deep emerald, adorned with intricate patterns of gold thread that shimmered when she moved, and her voice carried a melodic lilt that could soothe the most restless soul. Nissa's connection to the forest was unlike anything the villagers had ever seen. Flowers bloomed where she walked, animals approached her without fear, and her remedies healed ailments no one else dared to treat. Some claimed she was blessed by the forest spirits, while others whispered that she was one of them. But envy festers in the hearts of men like rot beneath the bark of a tree. A nobleman, cruel and greedy, sought to claim the Black Veil for his own. He wanted its riches, the rare herbs, the game, the streams of pure water, and, most of all, he wanted Nissa. She refused his advances, of course, and spurned his offers of gold and power. Rejection was not something the nobleman took lightly. One fateful night, under the blood-red glow of a hunter's moon, the nobleman and his men stormed the forest. They captured Nissa, binding her wrists with iron chains, and dragged her to the village square. He branded her a witch, claiming her powers were not a gift but a curse, and that she had bewitched the forest to serve her dark will. The villagers, cowed by the nobleman's power and stirred by their own insecurities, turned on the very woman who had healed their children and saved their crops. Nissa was tied to a great oak at the forest's edge, her hair tangled and matted, her emerald robes torn and smeared with dirt. Yet, even as the flames licked at her feet, her voice remained steady. "You will reap what you have sown," she said, her green eyes glowing brighter than the fire. "The forest will remember. And it will not forgive." As her body burned, the forest screamed. The wind howled, the trees groaned, and the animals fled in terror. When the fire finally died, only ash remained, ash, and a silence so profound it felt like the world itself was holding its breath. The villagers didn't realize it at first. Days turned to weeks, and life seemed to return to normal. But then the forest began to change. The trees grew denser, their branches twisting like claws. Shadows lingered even in broad daylight, and the air carried a strange, metallic tang. People who ventured too deep into the woods never returned, or, worse, they did, but they were different. Rumors spread quickly. Some spoke of a ghostly figure with raven hair and glowing green eyes, wandering the forest in her tattered robes. Others claimed to hear whispers in the wind, calling them by name, promising wonders if they just stepped a little deeper into the shadows. And then there were the screams, sharp, sudden cries that echoed through the night, followed by a silence that was somehow even louder. Over time, the village grew smaller. People left, seeking safety in places far from the Black Veil's reach. Those who stayed learned the rules: never enter the forest after dark, never answer the whispers, and, above all, never speak Nissa's name. Of course, there's always someone who thinks the rules don't apply to them. Summoning the evil in the forest isn't something you stumble upon by accident. The ritual is old, passed down in fragments of folklore and cryptic warnings. It begins with a token, something personal, something precious. A lock of hair, a beloved trinket, a secret scrawled on parchment in your own blood. You take it to the heart of the forest, where the trees form a circle so tight it blots out the sky. There, beneath the gnarled roots of an ancient oak that bears scorch marks from a fire long extinguished, you bury the token. Then, you speak the words, "Nissa of the Black Veil, hear my plea. Come forth and claim what you desire most." If the forest accepts your offering, the air will grow still. The wind will stop, the birds will fall silent, and the trees will seem to lean closer, as if listening. Then, she will appear, a figure emerging from the shadows, her raven hair billowing as though caught in an unseen breeze. Her robes, now blackened and torn, seem to absorb the light around her. Her face is pale, almost luminous, but her green eyes burn like twin flames. Nissa doesn't speak at first. She doesn't need to. Her presence alone is enough to chill the marrow in your bones. When she finally does, her voice is soft, almost gentle. "You called me," she says, her lips curling into a smile that never reaches her eyes. "What do you seek?" The thing about Nissa is that she doesn't grant wishes, she twists them. She gives you what you think you want, but always at a cost far greater than you could have imagined. A farmer once summoned her to save his dying crops. His fields flourished, but his family withered, consumed by a sickness no healer could cure. A young woman begged for beauty. She became the most beautiful in the land, but her reflection in the mirror showed only a rotting corpse. Nissa doesn't kill outright. She lets you destroy yourself. It's a slow, insidious kind of torment, the kind that leaves you questioning your own sanity. And when you've finally broken, when you've begged for release and there's nothing left of the person you once were, only then does she take you. They say the forest absorbs her victims, their souls feeding its roots, their screams becoming the whispers that lure in the next foolhardy soul. And yet, despite the warnings, people keep calling her. Maybe it's human nature, the desire to believe we can outsmart even the most malevolent of forces. Or maybe it's something darker, a twisted part of us that craves the thrill of dancing with danger. The Black Veil remains, a place of endless night and eternal dread. The villagers still speak of it in hushed tones, their eyes darting toward the forest's edge as though expecting to see her watching. Sometimes, on moonless nights, a flicker of movement can be seen among the trees. A glimmer of green light, a whisper carried on the wind. And if you listen closely, you might hear a soft, melodic voice, echoing from the depths of the forest. "Come closer," it says. "Let me show you what you truly desire." So, if you ever find yourself near a forest where the shadows linger too long and the air feels just a little too heavy, remember this: the evil in the forest is not just a tale. It is a promise that the trees remember, the roots do not forgive, and some wounds never truly heal.